Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5e, but we're going to talk about Xanathar's Guide to Everything. And I want to talk about Xanathar's Guide to Random Encounters. And basically, there's a section in Xanathar's Guide on random encounters, which I thought was a really good idea. I can't count the number of times people have asked me questions on random encounters. How do I do them? When should I use them? How should they look? How do I create them? And it seems like a really sensible thing to ask. And then suddenly they provided you with pages of it. So I had a look at this and I did do a review on it. So some people will already know my views on Xanathar's Guide to Everything and random encounters. There's about half a page of information and the rest is charts. The first thing is it goes from pages 92 right through to pages 112. So there's a lot of information there. And you could buy this online if you wanted to, and I think it'd be really difficult right now because it's selling out. I want to say the first thing is that this is designed for beginner dungeon masters. Essentially what I can see is they've created a whole lot of information, done all the charts for every region you would expect, for every tier of play. So it goes from levels 1 to 4, 5 to 10, 11 to 16, and 17 to 20, which is actually helpful for those people who don't have time to sit down and make all those charts up if they wanted them in the first place. The thing is, for me, as an experienced dungeon master, and I think that that might go the same way for other experienced dungeon masters, this section here I wouldn't really worry too much about. In fact, the most interesting sections are the ones that don't have bold text. The sections that are just a normal text where they provide you with just an encounter, something that happens, something they can discover or explore or something like that. I found that really, really helpful. Those are the bits that I like the most. In fact, in all of the pre-made adventures, those are the sections I use the most and I gravitate towards because they're not going to be a combat encounter. They might be a social encounter, but they're definitely not going to turn into a random combat encounter. And that's the tendency with random encounters, for them to turn into something that is going to be a combat encounter. Most of the information in Xanathar's Guide is really general, and I feel like it would have been nice to have some very specific information. But here's the problem. I've tried to come up with some information for people in terms of creating random encounters. It's actually really, really hard to do, which is why I haven't done a video on the topic, which is probably why they created the charts in the first place. I think that's probably the fairest thing to say in terms of not enough information for creating random encounters yourself, but actually it's such a broad area, there's so much variation. It's really going to be beyond the design team to actually come up with that information. I've never seen it anywhere. In fact, even if you look back at some of the older adventures, the kind of information they give you is this is a chart and make up your own stuff. Or really, that's what we're looking at. So I don't want to go into random encounters too much or for too long because I just wanted to keep this a fairly short video, but I wanted to read you out some of the random encounters in here that I thought were the most interesting because, one, they aren't going to be combat encounters, they're not necessarily going to be a social encounter, and it's not necessarily going to be a skill check or a skill challenge of any kind. So right now I'm looking on page 93, and it's under Arctic, and it says here, a circular patch of black ice on the ground. The air temperature around the patch is warmer in the surrounding area, and characters who inspect the ice find bits of machinery frozen within. Look, that just opens up a whole lot of questions. No combat encounter, no social encounter, but a mystery to solve. This is really cool. These are the best bits. Here's another one. An adventurer frozen 6 feet under the ice 50% chance the corpse has a rare magical item of the DM's choice. So just coming across a magic item. I'm not really fond of that, but it is one way of sort of integrating magic items into your game, particularly I think at the 5th level and onward. So if you're going to have them find something, having to dig it out of the ice would be kind of cool. They won't even know it's a magic item, it's just an item in the ice. But as the Dungeon Master, you'll know if it's a magic item or not, because you're the Dungeon Master. Here's another one. A 500-foot high wall of ice that is 300 feet thick and spread across 1d4 miles. Essentially, another problem. It's a hazard they have to navigate. These are the bits, as I said, that I think are the gold in Xanathar's Guide to Everything with regard to random encounters. So Brian, what have you got here? I like these. Still have to dig it out. Yeah. I think these are the best bits. Here's another one, still on page 93. A few dozen baby turtles struggling to make their way into the sea. So now the players have the choice of just ignoring them, stopping them, or helping them into the sea. Now I can tell you now, there's going to be more than a few players who want to help the little turtles get to the sea, particularly if there's a predator around. So that would make things more interesting. And it's not a combat encounter, and it's definitely not a social interaction. I mean, who talks to turtles? Really, it's not very common. So yeah, I think there is something to be said for Xanathar's Guide to Everything with regard to random encounters, but there's not quite as much stuff as I would have liked. For a new Dungeon Master, it's going to be awesome. It's got all the charts there that I don't have to think about it. They don't have to work it out for themselves. That's really, really helpful. But for those who are more experienced, I'm looking for the ones that are those pots of gold, really, the ones that are sort of stand out. Here's another one on page 96. An oasis surrounded by palm trees and containing the remnants of an old camp. So there's no other information. They don't know necessarily if the camp has, the people who are coming had made the camp are coming back, whether they left the camp standing. They don't even know what happened to those people who put the camp up. So it's a mystery to solve. These are the bits that I love the most. Here's another one. I want to read this out. I want you to, when you're using this book, these are the ones you want to pluck out and use more often than anything else. So page 97. An abandoned city made from white marble, empty during the day. At night, harmless apparitions roam the streets, replaying the final moments of their lives. Yet again, an exploration, an unusual happening, something that the players may or may not have some sort of effect on. This is really just to give you sort of the feeling that you're in a different world. I think that's what really stands out. And here's another one on page 97 as well. A lost weeping child. If the characters take the child home, the parents reward them with 1d3 potions of healing. So now you've got players doing something heroic rather than going and just doing horrible things to monsters and NPCs and taking their stuff. I'm trying to avoid saying the D word and the K word. For those of you who haven't figured it out, because YouTube keeps jumping on my videos and demonetizing them all the time. So now I've got to find a different word. Sleeping. Forever. That sort of stuff. Okay, here's another one on page 99. A small shack almost hidden by the deep forest. The interior is empty, aside from a large cast iron oven. So why is the oven there? Why is it the only thing there? And who left it behind? Yet again, yet another mystery. I'm not going to go over this for too much longer. I think there's lots of these in here. I would say if you count them all up, it's going to make up maybe 1 or 2 pages worth of really interesting mysteries and encounters for your players. And these are the ones that I would literally just take, type out, put onto a piece of paper and keep to use at any time. You could integrate them into the environments that they've been put under, but I don't see any reason. Some of them look pretty generic and you could just place them in any region or location you want. So that is all I'm doing for today. I will answer questions if people have questions. The live stream apparently has started to become more healthy, which is always nice. So if you found this video helpful or informative, please share, like and subscribe. If you haven't done already, there's a bell button underneath the video, so if you feel like getting notifications every once in a while, press that button or that little bell. If you don't want notifications and you know that I do a video every single day anyway, then don't press it so you don't get notifications. I find myself a little bit annoyed by notifications, so I tend not to press the button unless it's a channel I really want to hear about, and usually I don't press the button if it's a channel that does a video every single day, because I just go and check their channel. If you have any questions, I will answer them now, and I will answer anything that you put in the comments with regard to Xanathar's Guide to Everything and random encounters. And hey, where's my little dice? I should have my dice here somewhere. Here it is. It's not gone. Okay, there it is. So till next time, keep rolling those 20s.